I'm Chris Thomas, and welcome to this special MasterClass series on fundamental and foundational techniques that you can work on while you are sheltering in place during a time of infection control and social distancing. We're going to talk about how the hips move in relation to the techniques we call ukewaza, like gedan uke, chudan uke, agi uke. There are two kinds of hip movements that we're going to play around with. One is referred to as, we call it splitting, and the other one we call positive or positive rotation. These are just terms that we use. Someone may have different terms, that's okay. Positive is the easiest one to get, so we're going to start there. First, if I do it just in position without moving my body at all, I'm just right here in stance, I go like this. I bring this hand up, and as I do, my hand rises and my body turns to the half-facing position. Then my hand drops down, and as it gets about halfway, I turn back towards the front. See, 1, 2, 1, 2. Why is that? Because here, if I bring my hand up and go like this, that's a hit. If I bring my hand down here and go like this, that's a hit. But if I do this, right, in other words, I move my hip first, then I'm throwing, and it's weak. It doesn't have any penetration at all. So the method, take your hand, you go 1, 2, 1, 2. Think of it as 2 strikes. Strike 1, strike 2. Strike 1, strike 2. Hand is moving already, body turns, hand moves, body turns. That method is known as positive rotation. Why? Because the body and the hand move in the same direction. Positive rotation favors the front hand, the forward hand, the omote, the front hand. But it really doesn't favor the rear hand, which is known as hikite or urete. It doesn't really favor this hand at all. So it has its very particular energy, and it's really useful, and it's actually pretty easy to do. There is one trick that you have to learn, though. As you do this action, if you turn too far this way, see, whoom, nice and strong, right? But look at how I'm squared up. I have nothing to punch with. So if I do this movement, but I keep a little angle in my hip when I'm done, then I can still punch. One very useful way to practice positive rotation is this way. You shift your weight back, kind of squeeze your legs together. This is known as a double closure of the quad, because I'm doing this. We sometimes refer to this as got to go potty, like, oh, I got to go potty, Dad. So that's how we refer to that position. Sometimes it's also sometimes called the ba step, because the shape of the feet matches the shape of the number 8 when written out in Chinese or Japanese, which means it can also be called hachi, hachiashi, hachi step, the 8th step, okay? So I go 1, bang. So now what I'm doing is I'm still getting this rotation, but now I get to add my whole body movement. And then I get to do the reverse. See, isn't that cool? Whole body. So I get to do the positive rotation, but also add the shifting of the body to make it more effective. 1, 2. And you notice how the hand already starts, is well on its way before I finish, putting all of the energy and movement into the end of the technique, which is the point of contact. I should mention that sometimes in application, the point of contact is here. And this is what we refer to as through energy. If that's the case, then as I come down, my hip needs to be turning as it goes through the head, right? Through. So if I'm thinking of hitting something down here, it waits a long time. If I'm thinking of hitting something here and going through it, then my hip has to start moving right there, right? So I can hammer through that point. This is an important thing to know. So that gives you a way to play and practice with that technique. Now that can be done with each of the ukewaza. Here, middle counter, rising counter. By the way, notice with rising counter, feeling is almost like you're doing a hammer fist strike. 1, hammer. Yeah, it's a really interesting feeling. As I mentioned, If you leave a little angle hip back, you can follow up with a reverse punch. So this lesson is on a way of moving the hip, which we use with ukewaza techniques, and we refer to it as positive rotation. In the next lesson, we'll cover a different kind of hip movement, which we refer to as splitting. I want to remind you that you can get access to a great deal more content that will help you to continue to grow as a martial artist during this difficult time. There's a special deal going on right now. If you subscribe for 1 year to MasterClass, you can get it instead of $299, only $159 for the entire year. Just when you sign up, use the special code Keep Training. That's all one word, and it's all in capital letters. So I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for watching, and now go keep training.